Hey guys, welcome to another Anon Gremlin video. Today we are back on the weapon reviews, and this one was suggested by Pyro Dragon 123. He's made a lot of suggestions and I'll be doing those suggestions as well. But today we're looking at the Shadow Sniper Rifle. So it's got 27 damage, 600 rate of fire, 40 max clip size, 1 max ammo, 65 accuracy and a fairly heavy weight of 55. As per usual, I have no modifications put into the gun or no skills put into my character to improve gun efficiency to make it how it is straight out of the pack. So you may be wondering why it has a max clip size of 1. That's because it is Remnant Tech. Remnant Tech does not use ammo, instead it is based on a cooldown system. You've been playing video games as long as I have probably, so you know what a cooldown system is, so I won't patronise you there and tell you what a cooldown system is. So how does the Shadow perform in game? And I'm going to tell you now, I did the Sandstorm review yesterday and I was really negative towards it, but no way is it as bad as the Shadow. The reason I'm arguing the Shadow is so bad is because it does such little damage with its beam and it seems to overheat a lot. As you can see here, I'm holding my beam over that enemy and it's literally doing little to no damage per second. It is absolutely awful. You end up having to hold the beam over an enemy for such a long time, tracing it across them, that you end up overheating the weapon. When the weapon overheats, it will cool down to about 15%. And then if you try and shoot it again, it won't work. It will basically go straight back into its overheating phase. So you have to wait 5 or 6 seconds for the weapon to become useful again after it's overheated. Also, in its description, I find it quite funny that it says it has pinpoint accuracy. I'm going to argue that it doesn't. It has horrible recoil. When using the beam, as you may not be able to see it here because I'm pulling my analog stick down, but it has recoil that pulls the gun up quite substantially. So you can't keep a constant focus on your enemy, you're having to always battle that recoil, and that can be quite disorientating and quite annoying at times. I should probably mention that the gameplay is absolutely awful just because the gun is awful. These are probably my highlights, if you can call them highlights. These were the only good clips I could get out of it, if they're good at all. So it's okay / manageable to use on bronze, you will see it killing enemies. But I would argue on silver it is unplayable, and on gold I would take it nowhere near gold. This gameplay is on silver at the moment, and as you can see, I'm basically just picking away little bits of enemies' health at a time. Most of the time, as you will see, I'm only getting plus 30 damage on the enemy, I'm not even getting the kill. As you know, probably on normal brute enemies, when you kill them you get about plus 110 XP. Here I'm getting nowhere near that, I'm getting about 30 and I'm just getting damage, so most of the time you're just picking away at enemies' health for your teammate to come along and kill them. You will often end up at the bottom of the leaderboard using this gun. I don't want to go into how shittily I was scoring with this gun, just because it is absolutely embarrassing. You could argue that you could upgrade this weapon with mods and by packing it again so you get it to level 2, level 3, level 4, etc. I'm just going to say that is not worth it. Who would want to open packs to get such a bad weapon and make it possibly a little bit more redeemable when you could be getting other guns and making them better? As you may have seen in gameplay at the beginning of this video, when enemies start running, you basically have to keep the laser held over them as they run. Enemies are really hard to predict where they're running on this game. You may have seen it in some of my other game clips and other reviews. Sometimes they might jump up, sometimes they might decide to roll over a box, and to predict their movements is literally really hard. And because you have to predict their movements with the Shadow to keep the laser beam on them, it basically makes the gun also unplayable. Another reason why it's unplayable is it can be good against Remnant because they're a lot more easier to predict, but when going against Ket and Outlanders, the gun is basically awful. You end up not doing any damage to them and you just end up looking a fool. This sniper rifle is just frustrating to use. You end up having to spend so long looking down your scope. As you can see here, I'm spending such a long time trying to wean away this enemy, trace the beam across them and doing very little damage. You end up getting so frustrated that you try and kill the enemy by either holding down and then having it overheat, or you end up just staying down your scope and just tapping the R2 or RT button, and then you end up getting surrounded by enemies and you're not aware of your surroundings. It's absolutely awful. You leave yourself vulnerable and you do end up taking a lot of damage and dying a lot. It's kind of annoying that the Shadow is a rare weapon, just because its concept is good, I understand that. A sniper rifle that can fire a beam a long distance constantly, that's quite cool, that could be quite damaging and quite unique, but it just seems to suffer from what a lot of rare weapons and returning weapons are suffering from, where the fact that when you take them into silver / gold games, only a very few minority of weapons end up doing a lot of damage, This is only going to be harmful for the game. People aren't going to want to put loads of hours into the game to unlock premium packs and then just get moderate / average guns that don't do a lot of damage from packs that they put so many hours into getting. So that concludes this review of the Shadow Sniper Rifle. Like my review on the Sandstorm yesterday is extremely negative. I do have a more positive review coming out later though. You'll stay tuned for that. It is a pistol, so I'm not all negative. I did do some nice, fair, even reviews on some other guns where I gave them quite good results, good scores. But this Shadow, I'm going to argue, is the worst of the worst, even worse than that Sandstorm. At least I saw damage being done with that Sandstorm and it was playable. This Shadow on Silver and Gold is implayable. As per usual, feel free to leave your opinion in the comment. Don't dislike the video if you have a different opinion to me and you like the Shadow somehow, because that's a bit unfair. It's just my opinion on the gun and I really just didn't enjoy playing with it. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. More reviews will be coming out, so that's a reason to subscribe, and have a nice day. Peace out.